Time for another edition of the Red, Gold, and Bold podcast. Jeff Chadiha from the NFL Network, NFL.com is with us. Sam McDowell from the Kansas City Star is with us. My name is Soren Petro from Sports Radio 810 WHB. Thank you for joining us here. Remember, if you're catching us via the podcast, we stream live Fridays at 10 a.m. for the second of the week, so you can make plans to join us. Sorry to get some folks in the comments in the chat room, making some comments right now. You can be a part of that discussion if you want. Today, we're handing out the midseason awards, Chiefs' biggest surprises and disappointments of the year, MVP for the Chiefs, Offensive Defensive Player of the Year, best and worst offseason move, NFL MVP, Coach of the Year for the NFL, Offensive and Defensive Player of the Year. It's award time. We're halfway, people. Yep, sad to think about it, but it's a reality, so we're handing out awards here on the Red, Gold, and Bold.
You are listening to the Red, Gold, and Bold podcast, the most in-depth analysis of the Kansas City Chiefs on planet Earth, breaking down the Chiefs like no one else can. Red, Gold, and Bold is hosted by Jeff Chadiha, Sam McDowell, and Soren Petro. Jeff Chadiha is a senior columnist and on-air personality for the NFL Network and NFL.com. Sam McDowell is a columnist for the Kansas City Star. Soren Petro is the afternoon drive host of the program on Sports Radio 810 WHB in Kansas City. The Red, Gold, and Bold podcast is proudly brought to you by Gann Asphalt and Concrete, Kansas City's nationally recognized full-service paving and pavement maintenance contractor, making parking lot problems disappear in Kansas City since 1994. Free consultations, no commissions, in-house crews, and every project comes with a written warranty. Find them online at GannAsphalt.com or call 816-484-3338. Gann Asphalt and Concrete, one contractor, all things parking lot. Now, here are the hosts of the Best Chiefs podcast, Jeff Chadiha, Sam McDowell, and Soren Petro.
All right, thank you very much, Curtis. Off and running here on a Friday. Guys, let's get into our awards. We're midseason. By the way, does it seem like it's gone by fast? Like when we get to the midseason of the NFL, we're also like 2/3 of the way through the or 3/4 of the way, really, through the college football season. Is it amazing how fast it goes by? Am I the only one that feels that way?
Well, no, it blows by.
Yeah,
and it's crazy. It's definitely.
And what we love is that to celebrate the midseason awards, Jeff, got a hotel room.
Hunkered down in Denver just to really get my thinking cap on.
I do love it. I do love it. Yes, you are in Denver. By the way, how was that game? Huh? Yeah. I mean, that had to scare you if you're a Chiefs fan. Yeah. Watching those two armadas meet in the middle of the field.
Yeah, I might never come back to Denver after watching that game because I hadn't been here for a game in like 3 years, and it was the only highlight was the food in the press box. It was. Yeah, I was just painful to watch.
I was going to say, Sam, we know that is crap because we got texts from Jeff about the food spread. There's no way he's not going back. Like
Sam will be here in a week. He'll be.
Yeah, right. I'll be here. Yeah, I'll be there next. Denver's I think the only team, at least last year, that did this, where they will email you the game day menu, like week of the game. You're like, all right.
So you're saying the Denver Broncos care about the media?
They do. They do. I want you to be happy.
You can confirm it's slightly better than the spread in KC.
Just a little bit, but. Again, based on the product on the field when they have the football, I can understand why they're trying to make people feel good about coming to Denver. It was
shots fired right there.
Rough game.
Right. We'll get into that a little bit more in an upcoming episode here of the Red, Gold, and Bold. But let's start with our midseason awards. We want to do the Chiefs first. So we're going to talk about surprise. Surprise is positive. Disappointment is negative. Jeff, we'll start with you. The biggest surprise for you when it comes to the Kansas City Chiefs is who and or what?
Yeah, well, I'm glad you clarified that because I was going to say that they went into this offseason thinking their running back plan made sense, but that was too negative for surprise. So I'm going with a guy who hadn't done a whole lot lately, but has been impressive in Tyquan Thornton. I feel like he is, we had this conversation about him weeks ago. I felt like he was a better option as their third wide receiver than Hollywood Brown. He's fallen out of that position, but when he was on and really in a groove, this offense was at its best. And I think we all came in this offseason not knowing what to expect from him. He fought his way onto the roster. He made plays early when Rashee Rice was out. And I sort of feel like he's got a role to play down the stretch here if they want to really get back to being a more explosive offense. So I like Tyquan Thornton for this surprise.
I think that's a good one. I mean, certainly the way he jumped out there, and there's some people that'd be like, oh, you know what? He should be less of a surprise. He ought to be playing him more. Sam, where do you go? Where do you go for your biggest surprise?
Well, to be honest, one of the surprises was that there was multiple options here. I don't think a year ago we had multiple options to choose from with this. I'm going with a player who's surprised me, I think, more than anyone, and it's Brian Cook, a guy that I was very critical of a year ago. I think he's one of the reasons that the Chiefs were so susceptible to explosive plays downfield, and I just think he's clearly the most improved player. And, having that happen from like deep into your rookie contract from year 3 to year 4 is unusual. So I think Cook's been a better than average safety in the league. And I think actually probably a top third in the league safety right now.
I think both of those are really good, but I'm kind of surprised. I thought, well, we're all going to have the same guy, and none of us have the guy that I thought was the biggest surprise. For me, the biggest surprise is Kingsley Suamataia. Moving him into guard, I don't disagree. I think I don't disagree with either one of yours, but I'm like, for me, I thought, okay, he'll be better at guard, but he was an unmitigated disaster. And in training camp, and maybe it's like, when do you measure this from, right? He did get better as training camp went along. He went better as the preseason went along. But when we first got this thing started, I mean, he was off the charts, just unbelievable. We're like, oh my God, what's going on here? Right? Like, I
wrote one of my columns after that Seattle game about the fact that they've got a problem at left guard after that preseason game. And I recognize it was preseason, but that was the only game film we had at him playing left guard besides, the throwaway game in Denver in which he was okay.
I will go so far as to say I texted somebody about the situation and got crickets. And I'm like, that's not good. When I'm like, hey, rough go, huh? And it's like, you just get chirp, 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 chirp. It's like, ooh, if you won't comment, like you recognize where it is too, that may have absolutely been a false read on my part, but he's settled in and been fine. And so I think Kingsley Suamataia has been a very, very pleasant surprise for the Kansas City Chiefs. We don't talk about him. I mean, we haven't talked about him on this podcast since when?
Long time.
I mean, that's the dream of an offensive lineman. So, I went Kingsley Suamataia. All right, let's go to our disappointments. Jeff, the minister of disappointment. We turn to you first in this category. Where are you thinking on this?
I thought this will be consensus, I feel, because Chris Jones is the runaway favorite in this category. And somebody on this podcast, I'll keep mentioning it.
Then how could it be a disappointment for you?
He's even worse than I thought he was going to be. How about that?
But he's on pace for the exact sack total you thought, right?
Yeah, he's still pushing. I think he's got close to. I said career low sacks, right? We said it was 2.
Yeah, and we did have to amend because he had, what did he have, 1.5 or 2 his rookie year? We said
2,
okay,
I think, yeah.
Since he got going, and so he is on that pace right now. Chris Jones, not pretty. Sam, where do you go on the disappointment category?
Yeah, I mean, I tried to come up with something different other than Chris Jones, but I just think all the arrows point towards him. And I do think it's been, I'll say a little exaggerated because, he's still 5th among pressures among interior linemen, for example, but what concerns me is he's been trending the wrong way over the last 3 games. I mean, his pressure rate over the last 3 weeks is 2.9%. 2.9%. And when you make 3 times the amount of everyone else on your defense, like, it shows up. And, I mentioned this on Tuesday's podcast, but what's really down is his quick pressures, those pressures that just absolutely ruin any plan of a play for the offense. He's on pace for 17 of them this year. He's never been fewer than 26. He's just at 1 a game. It's just, he's not as quickly disruptive as the guy that we've seen for a long time now.
And I think what was the topic we had on Tuesday was, can the Chiefs win with him being this kind of guy? The answer, I think, for all of us is no, he's not going to get there. Like, that's not it. I have Chris Jones. Absolutely. Who would you? Maybe we should have been like, okay, obviously Chris Jones is the answer. Like where we take away Patrick Mahomes, who would be next? Jeff, would you? Who's
Xavier
the next
Worthy.
piece? Xavier Worthy.
Be right
Okay.
there.
Wow.
With him, yeah.
Sam.
Yeah, I think the other things I consider are more like trends or issue type stuff. Their 0-4 record in one possession games after going 12-0 a year ago, for example. So it was tough. I don't think there's any player that really fits into the category. I think you'd have to be a little bit creative there.
Oh, I got Jeff's back on Xavier Worthy. I think you expected him to take a step. I know he was hurt, and listen, we might see that over the final 8 games. I know he was hurt, and then he came back, and Rashee Rice came back, but I still expected this to be, if Travis Kelce at 36 is stealing all your catches, like that's a problem, right? That's a problem. So I'm with Jeff. My second biggest.
Somebody put in Bucker too. I forgot about him.
Oh, Bucker for sure. Yeah. Bucker's a good one. Yeah,
that's a good one as well. All right, let's go to our MVP, Jeff. Who is your Chiefs MVP? This one's pretty easy since we didn't put any kind of
no parameters
on it.
Yeah, it's Mahomes, and Mahomes with a 100% vote of the vote here. I mean, he is. It's hard to imagine where they would be if he wasn't playing for this team right now. They might not have a win the way they've been playing. And he's had to do a lot of stuff with his legs. We know that the offensive line protection has not been what it needs to be the last few games. I think they've asked a lot of him by not giving him a better running game. I've said this for the last couple of years, that every great offense in this league has got a really good run game, and you're seeing the effects of that again. And not having Rashee Rice for 6 games was a part of this too. And so he's done everything you want for an MVP of your team. And so it's a no-brainer.
Yeah. I assume you're at the same spot there.
Yeah. And to give people a heads up, like we will select also a non-quarterback MVP here too. But I mean, Josh Allen overtook him in the MVP race in the betting markets. But I mean, Patrick Mahomes is playing like an MVP. It's amazing what putting the best quarterback in football in a better environment can unlock. Even, there's limitations to what even Patrick Mahomes can do. And when you don't protect him, as we saw a year ago, there's really limitations. I mean, what's happened this year is he's using the entire field again. A year ago, he was 30th in downfield completions and 27th in yards from deep passing. This year, he's 6th in both of those stats. I think that there's, a lot of the reason that he is the MVP is because you've got better receivers, you've got a better offensive line. And, I think you guys know I was probably more critical than you guys were of Patrick Mahomes a year ago. But I can at least acknowledge that it was a tough environment to play quarterback a year ago, as it was the first 3 weeks of the season. But the Chiefs have the number 1 passing offense and the number 1 total offense in the league over the last 6 weeks. Like, that's not a small sample size that they've been playing really good offensive football now. And he's obviously the primary reason why.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, if anyone thought, I think there was kind of a trend when you read some of the things about, well, it's getting a lot closer. It's not getting closer. Patrick Mahomes, continue to carry this team and keep him in games just on his play when the offensive line wasn't good. You are right. Like he needs help. There are 10 other guys on the field and they got to show up and play for him to be effective. But, when Rashee Rice came back, they went to another level. When Xavier Worthy came back, they went to another level. I just think all of it. I think the fact that he's pushing the ball, he's being aggressive, the way he's handled the losses, even. I mean, you talk about most valuable player goes beyond just the numbers, and I think he's been exemplary in how he's handled where they are right now on the outside looking in, and has been a steady hand all around. Yeah, I think Patrick Mahomes is the guy. Are you talking about the offensive and defensive player of the year? Or do you want to name an MVP after Mahomes?
No, I just think that, I mean, that in the NFL, that's in particular, that's what the OPOI has become, is the non-quarterback MVP of your offense.
Yeah, I would agree. We'll get to the offensive player of the year, the defensive player of the year, along with a lot of other awards. We're going to get to the best and worst offseason moves, the NFL MVP, Coach of the Year, NFL offensive and defensive player of the year. We'll do that after you hear from our friends at Gann Asphalt and Concrete. Gann Asphalt and Concrete, proudly serving the greater Kansas City area. Nationally recognized full-service paving and pavement maintenance contractor. Locally owned and making parking lot problems disappear in Kansas City since 1994. Let Gann educate you about the most cost-effective way to solve your parking lot problems. Free consultations, no commissions, in-house crews. Every project comes with a written warning. Gann Asphalt keeps your parking lot safer and helps you and your business avoid unnecessary delays and costly expenses. Find Gann online at GannAsphalt.com or call 816-484-3338. Gann Asphalt and Concrete, one contractor, all things parking lot. Northland Injury Law, Kansas City's Google 5-star rated personal injury lawyers, serving KC for more than 40 years, voted Kansas City's #1 accident lawyers, helping people with serious injuries from car accidents, work accidents, falls, and other personal injuries. Northland Injury Law doesn't get paid unless they get money for their client. Don't wait, get compensated now. If you have a case, text HURT to 22222. That's HURT to 22222 or call 816-400-HURT. That's 816-400-4878. The choice of a lawyer is an important one and should not be based solely upon advertisements. All right, let's get to those offensive and defensive player of the year. Jeff, of course, we're going to take Patrick Mahomes out of that equation. Your offensive player of the year for the Chiefs is who?
Travis Kelce. I can't really think of anybody else who comes close. He's played really good football for his age. He's been better than I think a lot of us thought he was going to be. I think some of his yards after the catch are exaggerated by some plays that are a little bit fluky, like slipping out of the backfield on pass protection and running 40 yards. Some good plays have been dialed up. But I think overall, like, he made the pledge to come in better shape and to be more than what he was last year. His numbers say that he has been that. Knock on wood, he stays healthy and doesn't have a fall off in the second half. But again, no Rashee Rice for 6 games and Xavier Worthy not really showing up big. The run game disappearing. I mean, where would they be without him? And so that he's the easiest pick, for this category.
All right, Sam.
Yeah, just to add on to what Joe said, I'm picking elsewhere than Kelce, but I was looking into Kelce's season, and something that surprised me is his success rate on catches, so plays that keep the offense on schedule, was at over 70%. He's never been over 70% his entire career. He is having the best year of any 36-year-old tight end in NFL history right now. He's on pace for just over 1,000 yards. But I went with Creed Humphrey. I just think Creed Humphrey has been the most consistent player that the Chiefs have. He's not allowed a sack this year. He's only allowed 3 pressures. He's only actually committed 1 penalty, which is a stat that those of us who cover the Chiefs look at a lot for offensive linemen. So I did some midseason grades of every single player in the star this week, and I only gave out 1 A+ for the offense, and it was Creed Humphrey. I just don't know what more could he do. A center is not the most valuable position on the offense, even non-quarterback, not the most valuable position, but he's the only guy on the team other than Mahomes who's the best in the league at what he does, and it's Creed Humphrey.
Yeah, I have Creed Humphrey there as well. Although Travis Kelce entered my mind late, I was like, well, Creed Humphrey. You look at the PFF grades; he's the #1 center. But Travis Kelce is having a hell of a year, and a year that I think exceeds all of our expectations. And I'm glad that Jeff picked him because I think he deserves conversation in here. But Creed Humphrey is as close to flawless as you can be, and I agree. Like when we're taking Patrick Mahomes out, Rashee Rice, I think, is going to be the answer to this when we get to the end of the year.
Yeah, I agree.
But Creed Humphrey is the answer right now, and particularly when they've got a rookie on the left side of him. They've had Trey Smith be down for basically a couple of games. I think he becomes even more valuable. I've got Creed Humphrey there as well. All right, your defensive player of the year, Jeff.
Yeah, Trent McDuffie. It again for me an easy one. It's
an upset there, huh?
Yeah, really. It's process. It's who else you picking? It's been such slim pickings on that side of the football. I mean, I'm glad Sam mentioned Brandon Cook, who has played well. I think Jalen Watson's played better, but there's really nobody who's been able to do the things that Trent McDuffie does for this defense. And I don't have all the advanced stats, but I know that I don't see his name, hear his name a lot in coverage, making mistakes. I don't see him getting beat a lot, and I think that again, it'll be interesting to see what happens with him this offseason with the contract and all the deals that have been done with cornerbacks lately and the trade for Sauce Gardner. but he's doing his part of the job. Like he's been an All-Pro, Pro Bowl caliber player again.
Yeah, I don't think you can argue with that. And I've already put Trent McDuffie down for both myself and you.
Yeah,
That's the answer.
Yeah, I mean, I only gave out 1 A+ for the defense as well, and it was McDuffie. I did give George Karlaftis an A. I mean, I think Karlaftis is third in the NFL in pressures this year.
Yeah.
I think he'd be second on this list, but it's still a distant second compared to what Trent McDuffie's has done. He's such a good scheme fit to what Spags wants to do. He plays Next Gen Stats had this stat before the Bills game where he's played the 5th highest percentage of press coverage. And when you look into his press coverage plays, he's yet to allow 100 total receiving yards on press coverage this year. Plays the defense you want to play really frequently, and he plays that defense really well. By the way, Jalen Watson's been really good on press coverage as well this year. But the fact, McDuffie's been better, and you can move him to the slot. I mean, he's such a valuable piece for the way Spags wants to play.
And without the benefit of a great pass rush, right?
Yeah.
It's even harder to do it.
No, I mean it's Trent McDuffie, and his value has been highlighted even more when you see what Sauce Gardner, when every Chiefs fan's like, oh, give me 2 first-round draft picks, I'll take that. Oh boy, I don't know. He's right now playing at this level. He's probably worth more than 2 first-round draft picks, depending upon where they are, because he's as good as it gets. And I love Sam's point about the scheme fit, the fact that you can slide him into the slot, and I think there's like a layer that's still waiting to be unleashed. We haven't really seen him come after the quarterback yet.
No.
And that's something that off the slot that he's really good at as well is those corner blitzes. And I think we'll see some of that at some point. It's there. It's waiting to be dialed up at a key situation.
Yeah, I mean, they're playing Noah Williams more. They played Noah Williams more against Buffalo than they played. Now, I thought Noah Williams had his worst game so far once he had an increased snap count, but I still think the plan is to increase his usage in the back half of the season once he's more comfortable defensively. And that does slide Trent McDuffie inside. To your point, Soren. I mean, I'm forgetting whether it was 2 years ago or 3 years ago. I think it was 2 years ago. Trent McDuffie was graded as the best blitzer among defensive backs in the league. And it was because he can time those so well.
You playing Gallagher over there?
Are we taking calls now?
I
thought we were just taking the comments.
I don't even know where my phone is, to be honest with you. Like, it's not even in the room to be, and that's like the burner phone, as my family calls it, that it rings on this. So, yeah, sorry, my apologies.
Somebody wants to come in with something other than McDuffie on this.
They're outraged. They're screaming over it. Yeah, my apologies there. I had to wait for it to pop up on the screen to where I could hang it up. So yeah. There's complete outrage here about the Trent McDuffie pick. All right, let's get to our best offseason move for the Kansas City Chiefs. Jeff, what was their best offseason move?
I didn't have a ton that I was crazy about, so I'm going to go with having a 2-pronged approach to left tackle, because Josh Simmons probably is the best personnel move, but obviously he hadn't done anything in a month, just got back in the building. But having a plan that involved Jalen Moore, drafting Josh Simmons, they've been able to cobble this together. I think it will help them in the long run, because obviously Jalen Moore can end up being a right tackle down the road. But I feel like Josh Simmons was really playing at a high level before he disappeared. Jalen Moore had a couple good games in there. Didn't play great against Buffalo, obviously, but they had a smart approach to this. And I think we all wondered, spending that much money on Moore, and then what's going to happen with Simmons' knee. It hadn't been perfect, but it's been better than they could have imagined.
Yeah, I think I can't argue with that. Sam?
Yeah, I had having a plan B at left tackle, and not just thinking that plan A was good enough, because last year they went through plan A, plan B, plan C, and plan D, and none of them were any good. And I agree with Jeff that Jalen Moore wasn't great against Buffalo. I talked about it on Tuesday. I think they held onto the ball longer. There weren't guys getting open. I think made the offensive line look worse. As on a bad day, it made them look even worse. But the floor for what they have at left tackle is just so different. I mean, we saw the floor, and it's why I continue to say last year and in the offseason, it cannot get worse at left tackle. And we talked about a bad day from the offensive line, and that would have been one of their best days of the year. a week ago. So, yeah, I think it would have been – look, last year's issue was they went into the draft thinking we got to get a left tackle in the draft. Like, you had to come out of that with a starting left tackle, and then you're pressed into believing that Kingsley Suamati is the guy before he proves it. They could have done that same thing and said, we believe we'll draft Josh Simmons, and here we go. And instead they signed somebody, and even that signing of somebody didn't prevent their first round pick. So I think there's two decisions there that they made in conjunction that I think some teams would make separately. And like Jeff said, even if Simmons comes back and he's obviously back in the building, but you play him, you still have a plan for next year. You're still better set up for next year. And they should learn this lesson next offseason too.
Yeah. I had solving left tackle, and I will put, and I do love that they had a plan B with Jalen Moore, but Jalen Moore's exposure, I put an addendum in there about drafting Simmons. Like, I do like that they had the two-pronged attack, and he certainly played well 2 games ago, not as well this last game, but I still think Josh Simmons is a bolder move than people realize. They obviously, we heard about character red flags. They've been through it. The fact that he's back in the building, and we don't know what's going to happen from here moving forward, but their medicals checked out his knee and said, let's do this. They had red flags. They took him anyway. They put him in there. And, oh, by the way, he could play and play at a really high level. They've been through adversity, and now he's back. Again, I don't know what's going to happen, but I will continue to say no matter what happens here moving forward, the drafting of Josh Simmons was a really good pick. Even if he decides, you know what, I'm back and I don't like it and I'm out, whatever was going on, if he never plays football again, this was a good pick. This was worth the swing for the fences for this team and solving the left tackle. And if he's back and he's back for good and he's going to continue on the course he was on, they have solved left tackle from the 32nd pick, from the 31st, and picked up a pick to move down to 32. That is so hard to do. And I think it needs to be underscored that to getting that, having a long-term answer at left tackle. I do love the Jalen Moore part, and I love the way we're all on the same thing in some way, shape, or form. And I think Jalen Moore, if he's the starting, I think he will be right tackle next year. If he ends up playing right guard because Trey Smith goes down, we're going to talk about how valuable that signing was. But I think it will all pale in comparison if they have a high-level left tackle now in Josh Simmons. That is an absolute home run for the Kansas City Chiefs. So I put it on the Josh Simmons. Let's go to the worst move. Jeff, throw around some hate here. What's the worst?
No, I'm throwing around some love for myself. This is also in my bold and daring predictions. Christian Fulton.
Okay.
He's already covered for me, right? I said he wouldn't play in 10 games. He's already at 9. I said he would play. He wouldn't make it to 10 games. So I don't think he's playing in the next one. So I think I'm good.
Yeah.
$10 million a year for a guy who has not touched the field once in a regular season game. That's to me.
Well, he touched it once. He was in the opener.
Did
I think he's played.
I forgot about that. Okay.
I think he's played like 17 snaps or something like that. Yeah.
All right.
That is.
I missed those.
Can I be honest with you, Jeff? I'm with you. That is absolute news to me. Like you said that, I'm like, really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
He did? Are you sure about that, Sam?
Yeah, he played in Brazil. He hasn't touched the Arrowhead field, but yeah.
Okay. Okay. Hadn't played in this country.
It's not played in America yet.
Okay. Yeah. No, I don't know how this has gone so sideways so fast. I don't know what they expected from him. He's been around. They signed him back in March. It's either he can't play, Spagnuolo can't stand him, or they just got this completely wrong from the start. Whatever it is, you can't be putting that kind of money into a player who can't help you. And to me, it's been a disaster.
He did play 2 snaps against the Eagles before he got hurt. Because remember, he got hurt against the Eagles game, and then once he was healthy, he just hasn't been back. Yeah, he got hurt early on in that Eagles game, that first series of the game.
That shouldn't surprise you that he got hurt.
Complete news to me. Yeah. Absolute news to me. Like, he is like, I have no memory. I vaguely have a memory of him being out there in preseason.
Yeah.
Vaguely.
Yeah. I remember
he played a ton. Remember, he played a ton of snaps in the
last preseason game.
Yeah, the last preseason game.
Yeah. But I vaguely remember it. I do remember that he was out there a lot.
Is he even mentioned in the press? Has anybody even talk about him with Spagnuolo? His name come up?
No, not anymore.
Well, yeah, I was going to say not anymore, but yeah, I mean, early on, the first month or so, yeah. But I mean, what's changed in his story?
I mean, can like 4 years from now, someone's going to be like, Christian Fulton played for the Chiefs. You're going to be like, who? Like, who? Who are we talking about?
Yeah.
The corner from the like, I do not like. There are times that people bring up a name of somebody. Like Curtis will have some trivia question on the program, and it'll be like, oh yeah, so and so. I'm like, I don't. That guy played for the Chiefs. He's like, yeah, don't you remember? Yeah. I'm like, I no memory. That will be Christian Fulton's spot in my mind. I have Christian Fulton as well. Sam, do you have any?
No, I actually went elsewhere just because look, Christian Fulton. I think he
How
could be.
Could you?
Worse than an 8-figure contract to a guy who's played 19 snaps?
Because my argument is that what I'm picking has a bigger effect on the outcomes of the game. Because I think Christian Fulton could be the worst signing in like Brett Veach's career. But they've had terrific cornerback play. And what they haven't had is good running back play. So I think believing that you were set at running back, I think is the worst offseason move because teams are just daring the Chiefs to run the football. And I mentioned this in those grades that I've mentioned here, but Isaiah Pacheco has the 6th highest expected yards per carry on Next Gen Stats, which is based on how the defense is playing you and what the running lanes are there. Yet he's 28th in success rate among 40 backs. He's 29th in explosive runs. He's 37th in the league in yards after carry per run. Like they're not getting enough out of that position. Now, Kareem Hunt has a very solid role and a very valuable role with his short yardage, but believing you were set at running back and could wait till the 7th round to draft one, and then Elijah Mitchell, that combination of 7th round pick and Elijah Mitchell, we're going to improve your running back room. To me, that's had a bigger effect than signing Christian Fulton.
Yeah, you make a compelling argument. I mean, that has been a problem. There's no doubt about it, and it will continue to be a problem. And I think Kareem Hunt has maybe earned a little bit more touches because I think he looks pretty good. I'm kind of intrigued by the idea that maybe he can do something, but yeah, that's pretty fair. But I still think it's Christian Fulton by a landslide. And it's going to be interesting if it's a one and done, if they just cut bait with him, because right now that's what they should do. Do they keep him hanging around to just not look so bad? Will be interesting. All right, we still got our NFL awards to hand out. We'll do that after you hear from our friends at Northland Injury Law. Northland Injury Law, Kansas City's Google 5-star rated personal injury lawyers, serving KC for more than 40 years, voted Kansas City's #1 accident lawyers, helping people with serious injuries from car accidents, work accidents, falls, and other personal injuries. Northland Injury Law doesn't get paid unless they get money for their client. Don't wait, get compensated now. If you have a case, text HURT to 22222. That's HURT to 22222, or call 816-400-HURT. That's 816-400-4878. The choice of a lawyer is an important one and should not be based solely upon advertisements. Gann Asphalt and Concrete, proudly serving the greater Kansas City area. Nationally recognized full-service paving and pavement maintenance contractor. Locally owned and making parking lot problems disappear in Kansas City since 1994. Let Gann educate you about the most cost-effective way to solve your parking lot problems. With free consultations, no commissions, in-house crews, and every project comes with a written warranty, Gann Asphalt keeps your parking lot safer and helps you and your business avoid unnecessary delays and costly expenses. Find Gann online at GannAsphalt.com or call 816-484-3338. Gann Asphalt and Concrete. One contractor, all things parking lot. All right, let's get to our NFL awards. We're not going to do a ton of these, but we certainly will do MVP on this. Jeff, who is your NFL MVP as you see it right now?
I've been high on Baker Mayfield throughout.
And we should point out, I'm sorry, all these awards are where it stands now. These are not a prediction of who it will be.
Yes.
These are all awards on where it stands now.
Yeah.
So doesn't mean that somebody else, Patrick Mahomes can't still win the MVP. We're not predicting, if we don't pick Patrick Mahomes that he's not it. We're just predicting who right now deserves this award. So I just want to be clear about that. Okay, go ahead, Jeff. I'm sorry.
No, I've been high on Baker Mayfield. I think he's got a strong case, but I'm going to go with Matthew Stafford right now, just because his numbers are substantially better than Baker's are. He's got 21 touchdown passes. He's got 2 picks. He's second in the league in yards per game. He's on pace for 4,500 yards. I mean, he's looking at a season where he could have 40-plus touchdowns, 4 or 5 interceptions, and 4,500 yards. I think and a great offensive supporting cast. Baker's been carrying that team through a lot of injuries. I'll go with Stafford right now, just 'cause I think statistically, individually, he's had the better season.
Okay. Sam?
Yeah, I'm going with Mahomes.
Okay.
I know that, like I mentioned earlier, that Josh Allen took over in the betting market, but and that is a projection. That's half what you've done so far and half of a projection. But I mean, the Bills are the only team in the league that run the ball more than they pass the ball. I don't. Josh Allen's terrific. I'm not trying to downplay, but I just don't think he has to do quite as much for his offense as Mahomes does. And he's 16th in the league in passing. He's 6th in EPA. Mahomes is 2nd in EPA to Drake May, who has played a remarkably easy schedule, and that won't change. The Patriots have played the 32nd hardest schedule, and they're going to play the 31st hardest schedule remaining. I mean, their schedule is just remarkably easy. But we've already talked about Mahomes, but I think he's had just a terrific year. 1A for me would be Stafford. I think Stafford is the other guy in this conversation.
I have Matt Stafford. I think the Rams, the rest of their roster, like this isn't, there's no Aaron Donald over there anymore. I mean, they are riding Matt Stafford. And I don't think Kyron Williams is that great, I think he makes Puka Nacua. I think he's a fine player, but, and he's had his usual dinged up, scenarios.
But that Stafford makes Puka Nacua?
Yeah, 100%. I think Puka Nacua is a very good player, but absolutely. Like, do you think Patrick Mahomes doesn't make all the receivers around him better?
Well, I guess what I'm asking, do you not think that Puka Nacua would be an elite receiver on another team? Like another quarterback?
If he were with Patrick Mahomes, if he were with some of the best, yes. But like just his overall, like if you put him with, a middling quarterback, no, I don't think he would be elite.
Yeah, I think Puka Nacua is terrific. I think he's a top 5 receiver in the game.
I think he's great because they get the ball to him. And the guy who gets the ball to him is Matt Stafford.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, I will always – we all would take the quarterback over the wideout, right? Like nobody – like it'll be interesting to see if anybody gets at, what's his name, Garrett Wilson gets out of the Jets and goes and plays with the quarterback. If Olave goes and plays with the quarterback, like all those guys, like the quarterback absolutely makes the receiver. And, they can be pretty good. But like Travis Kelce's career, it's like the reason to pick Tony Gonzalez over Travis Kelce, because he had a handful of years with Trent Green, but the rest of the time was middling. Like Patrick Mahomes finds you. He gets you there. Patrick Mahomes doesn't take sacks. Patrick Mahomes converts the third down, gives you a chance to shine, gives you so many more opportunities to catch the football. Yeah, I mean, Matt Stafford is playing at a really, really high level. And I think of Puka Nacua, I think he's a really good player. He's not going to suck anywhere. Right. But I think Matt Stafford makes him.
Yeah. I think Puka's terrific on his own.
Okay.
But yeah.
I do too, as a wideout, but he's not going to look like he does with all the gaudy numbers without.
I guess I think you need to amend that to say he makes his numbers what they are, but like Puka's terrific on his own, I think.
I'm fine with that. I think he's a very good receiver. Yes. I'm not arguing your point. But Matt Stafford's what makes him a guy that everyone talks about. Without Matt Stafford, they're not talking about him. All right, let's go to our coach of the year. Where are you going on your coach of the year, Jeff?
Shane Steichen. I know Mike Vrabel's probably going to get a lot of attention for this with what he's done with the Patriots, but nobody was looking at the Colts and looking at them with Daniel Jones and saying, except for me, because I picked Daniel Jones as my comeback player of the year. And our NFL prediction. I'm having a roll here at midseason. But
I noticed we made like 20 picks, and you brought up 3 of them.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. Well, I was the guy that picked Robert Saleh as my coach of the year last year with the Jets, so I'm going to take my victory laps when I can.
As you should.
But
sure.
no, I mean, Shane Steichen, what he's done with Daniel Jones, that team is obviously taking the league by storm. Got a chance to be in the conversation for the top seed in the AFC. The defense has played well. Jonathan Taylor's having an MVP-like year. And look, it's really hard when you're a head coach and you got to take a guy who was picked 4th overall and sit him down and go with a dude who was a bust elsewhere and make it work. And so I think Shane Steichen, what he's done with this team has been pretty incredible.
Yeah, I can't argue that. I can't argue that logic. Sam, where do you go?
Yeah, I think it should be a slam dunk with Steichen. I was very surprised when I looked up the market numbers on this, and Steichen is only barely ahead of Mike Vrabel. Like, he's plus 140 to Vrabel's plus 180. Mike McDonald's looming there, but I mentioned the Patriots schedule, and I look at them and say they've beaten one good team. And the Colts have not played murderer's row by any means, but they're also murdering every team that they do play. And it's with Daniel Jones. I mean, I think it's a slam dunk. And we all probably should have had him rated higher. I do recall in the coaching rankings that mentioning the fact that him being 17-17 with the quarterbacks that they've had over the past couple of years has been pretty impressive. But I just don't think Jeff mentioned he picked Daniel Jones as comeback player of the year, which I still think he's like fourth in that race, which is like,
how is that possible?
What's 1, 2, 3 in that right now?
Christian McCaffrey's number one.
Okay.
I know
Dak.
Dak is number two, and then Aiden Hutchinson, which Dak and Aiden Hutchinson I'd give to over McCaffrey. McCaffrey's negative money right now.
But you know what? They should have like the I came back from injury award.
Yeah.
And then they should have like come back like I resurrected my career award. Like I will give mad props.
Came back from ass. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
That's right. Yeah.
What would the trophy be? Big butt, your hands a big bronze butt. Yeah, I give Jeff mad props on the Daniel Jones. I mean, I laughed at Daniel Jones going to Colts.
I'm going to be more self-deprecating than Jeff. I put Daniel Jones as my last quarterback in the tiers.
I do remember that. So, I do remember that.
I have to pick Shane Steichen if I have having the worst quarterback in the league. At this record,
I have Mike Vrabel, and I'll stand by it because I think the Colts schedule has been easy. I think when you look at it and you dive into it, they really haven't beaten. I think they've got one real win of note that's on there, and I don't have it in front of me. But I think
I know they've beaten the Broncos.
That's it, and even that came because of they made a bad decision and got bailed out with a bizarre call.
They crushed the Chargers in LA.
I mean, is that resume material?
Well, the Chargers are 6-3, right? And the Chargers have beaten the Chiefs and the Broncos. I mean, I don't you guys know. I think you guys probably think more of the Chargers than I do.
No, I don't mean that that's not a good win. I mean, is just that alone make your resume because that's the one win. I think that's the one win I was thinking of. Am I wrong, or do they have somebody else on there? Are you looking at their schedule?
The Broncos and the Chargers.
I guess I probably in my head took the Broncos away because I thought they shouldn't have won that because of the way they lined up for 60.
The Colts have the fourth easiest schedule in the league, but like I said, the Patriots have the easiest schedule.
Yeah.
What's different about those two teams is the Patriots have the second easiest schedule remaining, and the Colts have the second hardest schedule remaining. So we'll see what the Colts are.
I will add to the resume one of the reasons that I do like Mike Vrabel in this situation is because he's got a second-year quarterback. I know Daniel Jones, nobody was really high on him, but he's been around the block. Drake May, people weren't even sure. It was all Jaden Daniels, right?
Well, all of us had May rated higher than Jones, right? I know.
Oh yeah.
Probably, but it was based on upside, right? It wasn't based on what he had done. And you come in, you're the defensive side of the ball. I know who he hired as his offensive coordinator and everything, but he's got a second-year quarterback that's playing at a high level. I agree the schedule's easy. And I don't say this like, oh, my God, Steichen's terrible. Like, I think Steichen's a great choice.
Yeah, sure.
But I think Mike Vrabel has righted the ship in a franchise. They were awful last year. I mean, awful. And right now is a time where quarterbacks come in and play at a high level, like as rookies. Now look at what Bo Nix did last year. Drake May didn't look like Bo Nix last year. Right. And so I like Mike Vrabel. I'll give it to him. And the schedule is easier for Vrabel coming down the stretch. I think he'll end up winning the award, but I think he'll deserve it when it's all said and done. All right, let's get to our offensive player of the year, Jeff. Where are you going as far as offensive player of the year in the NFL?
I'm going Jackson Smith and Jigba out in Seattle. And if you really look at what the Seahawks have done, I mean, it's a great story they got going out there, and Mike McDowell should be in that conversation for Coach of the Year as well. Sam Darnold's surprised me with what he's done, but a lot of what he's done relates to what Jackson Smith and Jigba has become. This guy had 1,100 yard receiving last year 1,100 yard receiving last year. He's already got almost 1,000 this year through 9 games. I think he's got 600-yard games this year. I think going into last weekend, he was 46% of the receiving yards for the Seahawks because Cooper Kupp's been banged up. They just went and traded for a receiver. I mean, he's become a star, and you don't see him as much because he plays out in the Pacific Northwest, but he's been the best receiver in football throughout the course of this season.
Yeah, 118 and a half yards per game, leading the league, 948 yards leading the league, only 4 touchdowns, but 12 yards per target. He is, there's nothing, 16 yards a catch. He's been fantastic.
One of us had him as our breakout player a year ago.
So you were ahead of the game.
But I've got Jonathan Taylor. I mean, I second straight time this has been the case, or I guess same with MVP and Offensive Player of the Year. Jeff's pick is my second pick in this, but Taylor leads the NFL in rushing touchdowns, in rushing EPA. He has almost 100 more yards after contact than any other player in the league. He leads in explosive rushes. And like I think he's, as much as Daniel Jones is a great story, I think a lot of what's going right now is similar to the Eagles last year. Is their running game is killing it because their running back is better than everybody else.
Yeah, I have no arguments. I have Jonathan Taylor on a couple of fantasy teams. Very happy for the bounce back there. I think he's been absolutely sensational. But I have Jackson Smith-Njigba because he's doing what he's doing. Sam Darnold had a very fine year last year, but he looked so bad in the playoffs that I was like, oh, man. He really exposed. And Jackson Smith-Njigba. So I do think Sam Darnold's good. My point to making that, the reason I bring that up is I think Sam Darnold's good, but not great. But Jackson Smith-Njigba and the coordinator, Kubiak, Clint Kubiak, are doing a great job of making Sam Darnold look great. I mean, I thought, oh, great, going to play for a defensive coach. Like, what is he going to do here? This is going to look ugly. And I think Kubiak deserves a lot of credit. Maybe he's the coordinator of the year in the first half, which I'm not sure who else I'd give it to if it's not him. But Jackson Smith-Njigba has been awesome, and I give it to Jackson Smith-Njigba. I just think that he's got a good quarterback, but not great, and he's putting up record-setting numbers.
So in this case, the receiver makes the quarterback look good. Then.
Oh wow.
I was thinking that too. The rare case that happens.
I will say that Sam Darnold is playing at a very high level. That is a very good point. He's playing at a very high level, and Smith-Njigba would not be putting up the numbers he's putting up if Darnold wasn't playing well and his coordinator wasn't calling a great game. But yes, there is a bit of a conundrum there.
We should have done coordinator because that'd be interesting. Kubiak really stands out, and I think nationally that he might not be the first name people think of.
Who would they go to?
Well, I mean, I guess with Shane Steichen really leading that Colts offense because they've had statistically the best offense in the league. You probably wouldn't give it to their OC, believing that he's actually the OC there.
I would say McDaniels would be in the conversation. McDaniels,
yeah.
Joe Brady,
the
guy in Detroit. He was started off fast. John Morton started fast, but Kubiak would certainly be up there. And also the Bucs. I don't know who their coordinator is now, but they keep changing them out for head coaches. But who's the guy calling plays down there now?
And I think you'd also have to look at some of the defenses, right? I mean, who's?
Oh yeah. Vance Joseph.
Would have to be on that list, I think.
No, he would not have to be on that list when you give him the armada of talent that he's been given. You do not have to put him.
Yeah, I think
Josh Grizzard.
The issue with some of the defenses is
OC.
I think the issue with the defenses is some of the great defenses are probably also head coach. Houston's got the best defense in the league. We all think D'Amico Ryans is actually calling the defense there. And to be honest with Seattle too, like Seattle's had a really good, surprisingly good defense. But Mike McDonald's probably the reason, not more so than their D coordinator.
Okay. All right. And finally, our NFL Defensive Player of the Year. Jeff, where are you going to go?
I'm sticking with Mile High City. I think back-to-back they get Patrick Surtain last year, and Nick Bonito is the guy this year. He's got 9.5 sacks. I know that there's guys who got more sacks, and Myles Garrett's always a trendy pick here, but that defense is ridiculous. Their pass rush is crazy. They got 46 sacks through 10 games. I thought Surtain was a surprise winner last year, but I think people respected what he did. I think what Benito's doing, rushing the passer, he'll get the splash plays. If they end up winning the AFC West, they end up beating Kansas City. He's going to play a big role in that, and so I like what he's done. I like his potential to win it.
Okay, Sam.
I went with Myles Garrett. I think if I was projecting the rest of the season, I think I'd take Aiden Hutchinson. But I think it's just midway through the season. I mean, he's had 10 sacks, and I recognize a lot of those came against the Patriots alone. But just all the attention in the world from an offensive line goes towards Myles Garrett, and for him to still break through like he has, I think has just been really impressive.
Yeah, I went chalk. Jeff taking Nick Bonito. I thought about him. And probably should give him more consideration than I did, but I went Myles Garrett just because I think he's a marked man and he's about ready to go past 12 sacks. I mean, I know this isn't a career achievement award, but I think the 6th consecutive year, there's only a handful of guys that have had 12. So he's at 10 and he'll get to 12. And the names that the company that he's in is so elite. But I do think he's a marked guy. I probably watching Nick Bonito. I did this before I watched Thursday Night Football. Well, watching his get off and how quick he is, I mean,
crazy.
Why was he not drafted higher?
Yeah. And I mean, it's not like Benito's a wild choice. I mean, he leads the league, I think, in pressure percentage. I think he's at like 23% or something this year. And he also leads the league in pressures. Now, he's played 2 more games than Hutchinson and Garrett have because he played Thursday and they haven't had the bye yet. But he's been terrific.
He went in the 2nd round of the 22.
Midway through, didn't he?
He what?
Like he was like the middle of the 2nd round. He wasn't even a high 2nd round pick, was he?
He was
like
picked
40s,
number
45 somewhere.
64.
Who's that low?
64.
Wow.
Bottom of the 2nd round, and I'm just for Chiefs fans. Chiefs took Trent McDuffie and George Karlaftis. In the 1st round, I don't think anybody's complaining about that pick. In the 2nd round, they took Sky Moore and Brian Cook before Nick Bonito. By the way, they took both of those 2 in front of James Cook as well. So I look at that part of the draft. Sky Moore went 54. Brian Cook went 62. James Cook went 63. Nick Bonito went 64. How's that for you?
Well, yeah. I mean, you look at the Broncos, it's interesting because a lot of their best players are day 2, day 3 picks. They don't have a lot of 1st round studs on that team.
So get more picks. Is that what you're saying?
that
down instead of trading up.
Well, their biggest stud, which is Surtain. Remember, I mean, the national narrative was how could you not take Justin Fields whenever they took Pat Surtain.
Yep.
Yeah. No,
they got it right.
They did get it right. We, of course, got it all right on our midseason awards. We nailed it. Nice job, fellas. We'll be back at it getting ready to talk about the Chiefs and the Denver Broncos next week on the Red, Gold, and Bold. Enjoy your bye week. Of course, if you enjoy the Red, Gold, and Bold, so you can support our great sponsors that bring it to you, like Gann Asphalt and Concrete. Free consultations, no commissions, in-house crews. Every project comes with a written warranty. That seal coating, the weekends are booking fast. Still got some warm weather. They're still getting it done. You can still book it. Call 816-484-3338. If you own or manage your business, Gann Asphalt and Concrete has been solving parking lot problems since 1994. Find them online at GannAsphalt.com and our friends at Northland Injury Law. If you've been hurt in an accident, whether it's at work, whether it's in a car accident, and you've got a case, text HURT to 22222. That's HURT to 22222 or call 816-400-HURT, serving KC for more than 40 years and voted Kansas City's #1 accident lawyers. It's our friends at Northland Injury Law. For Jeff Chadiha from the NFL Network, Sam McDowell from the Kansas City Star, I'm Soren Petro.